On this episode of OK Speed Shop, we are finally back with the 1980 C10 Cheyenne short box with the D-stroked 400 motor in it. Great big cam. We have not been able to get this thing running right. I've been distracted on the junkyard dog truck, but it's time to get this thing running again, get it back in the shop, get the valves adjusted, get it prepped for the 373 gears that are about to go in the back. We got all kinds of stuff to do. Let's get this baby on the road. Let's go. So here's the deal. You remember the old mossy blue truck that we got running a while back? I'm so excited to get this thing back on the road. But the other day, I went to go try to start her up, and I've told some of you guys this in some of our previous videos, but when I turn the key, the starter just disengages, like it kicks back out. It just grinds the flywheel. I'm hoping I don't have to replace the flywheel. But I got a pro tip from a good friend of mine, Steve at Cross Thread Garage. He told me to get these special knurled, is that how you say that? Knurled or gnarled? Starter bolts to hold the starter in place a little bit better. He said he had the same problem with one of his projects. So we're gonna drop the starter right here where it is, in the rocks, in the gravel, and see if it will help. I'm also gonna throw a shim in there and see if it'll get a little bit better bite on that flywheel. So let me get the jack and something to lay on so I don't stab myself in the spine, and we'll see if we can get the old girl to crank up. I didn't have a wooden block, so I'm gonna chalk the wheels with an old manifold. We're not gonna use those anyway. Safety third. Looking for something to put down on the ground so I don't have to lay on those sharp rocks. My daughter's boogie board is a off-road creeper. Whoa, toad under it. We got all kinds of nature and wildlife that hangs out in this shop. Oh, okay, sorry, see ya. All right, professional. Time to change the starter out. All right, so I'm under the truck here. This is the starter and the flywheel. I don't know if you guys can tell anything about that fitment, but for whatever reason, it is not working right. I don't know if it's supposed to be kicked forward like that right now or not. Nope. But anytime I try to start it, it just grinds like crazy. So plan is I'm gonna take these two bolts out, replace them with the new knurled ones, and I'm gonna go ahead and try a shim and see what that looks like. I don't know if that's the right answer or not, but we're gonna give it a try. Well, that's not good. You know, I ordered the starter bolts for a small block Chevy 350. This is what I got. I pulled the original starter bolt out, and this is what it looks like. So as you can see, it's nowhere close to being as long as it's supposed to be.
I can relate.
So I don't know. I guess this is for like one of those little gear reduction starters maybe, because this no fitty. So I guess what I'm gonna do now is chalk that up to stupidity, and I'm at least gonna try to shim this with the original bolt and see if maybe just a shim will help it to engage right, since I'm already here. All right, so I got my shim. I really don't know which way it's supposed to go. There's this tab right here, so I'm thinking I'm gonna put that away from the flywheel. I'm not sure if that's right or not. It seems to line up. Let me get my other bolt in and see if I can start it back and see if she'll start now. Bandit, you're blocking the shot, dude. Really? Really? You're such an attention hog. Excuse me. Can you believe this guy? Get your butt out of the camera, dog. Hey. Sorry about him. All right. How do I do this? Gosh dang it. Why is everything so heavy? And that is stuck. Hyper Tough is getting me again, and it ain't even, I'm not even using it. Get off of there. What the crap? I lost my shim, lost my bolt. Hyper Tough won't let go of the dadgum bolt. Go away, Hyper Tough. Okay, it's heavy. Whoa. Oh my gosh, that was so close. Oh, woo, it like grazed my hair. Oh my gosh. Okay. Jeez. Oh, I need a lift. Please like this video so I can get a lift.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
I got the first one started. I got the shim wedged in there. Now I'm going to try to stab this bolt through the hole of the shim. This is probably not the right way to do this, I'm pretty sure, but that's probably not surprising to any of you. Let me get my impact and crank this thing down. Except now I've lost my socket. Where are you? How does this socket just disappear? Unless Bandit took it or something. Bandit, did you take the socket? Does anybody see the 14mm socket? It was literally just right here. I guess I'm gonna have to go get another one. Crap. Some of you guys informed me last time that because I had the extension on the Hypersuck, it made it weaker. So I have no extension today. I still think it sucks though. Anyways, we got her tightened up. Now let's see if she'll start. So before I start this thing, I remember last time I tried to start it, this little accessory ground deal was getting a little hot, creating quite a bit of smoke. I don't see why. I mean, it looks like it came from the factory like that, but just to be safe, I'm gonna go ahead and throw a new wire on there. No. I just lost it. Maybe this will help our little grounding issue. Get a good snug connection here. Hopefully nothing catches on fire. Let's get a little gas in it, give it a try. Come here to me. Woo, it's hot. I'm gonna put a little bit of the blue Kool-Aid in there. That should be enough to start it. All right, you guys are seeing this in real time for the first time, just like I am. So I'm gonna go fire it up and we'll see how that starter sounds. So you guys know that I'm not super knowledgeable in all this stuff yet. So let me know what it sounds like to you, if we may need to add another shim or whatever it is. Hopefully it just fires right up without even grinding. So let's go. Okay, so I had to do some redneck stuff. I didn't get to show you guys too much because my phone overheated because it's freaking hot out here. But when we dropped that starter, we lost a wire. So I put a little end on it and I was gonna try to put it back onto the starter, but I didn't want to drop the starter again in these rocks. So I'm gonna just try to jump it from that wire over here to the battery. So that should be fine, hopefully. And I'm gonna hook it up and see if we have power now. Okay, for some reason, that's happening. I don't know why that ground is melting so bad. We got some kind of wiring issue somewhere. I don't know where it could be. Okay, I isolated this ground cable and put it by itself. It was tied in here with some other stuff that, like, from the wiring harness into the core support. So I just put it on its own deal. We'll see if it does that again.
Still doing it.
Okay, so I don't know why, as soon as I turn the key, it roasts this ground cable for some reason. I don't know if it's my ground cable from the battery is grounded to the alternator. One thing I can think of maybe is if that's not grounded properly or something. Maybe the alternator's not grounded to the frame, or maybe it's just cycling back. Maybe I need to change where that ground cable is. It's like all of the ground of the ignition is going through this little wire. I'm gonna try to move the ground off of the alternator. So here's the latest redneckery. It was grounded right here, and for whatever reason, it was burning up this little auxiliary wire. So I took that out. I put a bolt in the top part of the alternator bracket, but it wasn't holding it real well, so I just threw the vice grips on it. I'm not trying to keep it like this. I'm just trying to get it in the shop so I can get out of the sun. So I guess let's see if we can do this without setting anything else on fire. So keep an eye on this wire right here, and if it goes up in smoke, we know that this didn't work. It's as if there was no power whatsoever. I'm trying to figure out what the dealio is, why there would be no power with the battery hooked up. Unless that's just not any type of ground, but it's got to be a ground. So here's what I'm seeing from the inside. I just kind of filed down the inside of the battery cables in case that there was just some corrosion or something. Let's see, I've got enough power to get the old blinker working, but then whenever I turn the key, nothing. So that's got to be then like the ignition wire or something is not making a connection. None of the gauges are coming on. Now the blinker's not even coming on. We're back under here. I'm gonna drop the starter back down, see if I can get this thing wired up right. Yep, here was our culprit right here. Some kind of old school connector there, 2 into 1. But then this was where our wire came loose that I tried to jump over to the battery, and it's just barely hanging by a thread right here. So I'm gonna try to clean that up and get that fixed up a little better and then see if it'll start. Okay, so here's what I come up with. There was these 3 wires coming down from the harness, all down to the battery positive side of the starter, but it was all mangled. Like we just had stuff cobbled together like that. So this wire is a little bit small. It's not permanent. It's just really enough to hopefully get it to start and drive into the shop. And then once I'm in there where I'm not laying on the rocks out here in the heat, maybe I can take my time and really go over this engine. You know, that may fix our power issue, but I'm still concerned about our grounding issue. But I'm gonna turn the key, keep an eye right here. If that goes up in smoke, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Dang it, I really just do not know what to do right now. I mean, it's enough to give me one little bump, and then it's nothing. It's like the battery's dead at that point. I wish you guys were here. This thing is tough. Well, that could be the problem. When that got hot last time, this wire left the chat. So I'm gonna replace this yet again. I think there's still enough to grab onto there. And see if I burn it up again. New ground wire installed. We'll see if this one gets fried immediately as well. Take 1,547 of will it start again, or will this ground cable go up in smoke? Let me know. Ooh, that's hot. Well, good news and bad news. Good news is I think we may have solved the grounding issue. Bad news is the starter is still not working. So got to figure out how to make it work. Maybe it needs another shim. or maybe the flywheel is just smashed up. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna get under there, drop it yet again, put another shim in it, and see what happens. Whew, it's hot. Well, I just shimmed the starter a second time, so I got 2 shims in there now. Like I said, don't really know if that's gonna fix it or not, but I'm gonna hook it back up and turn the key again. If this doesn't work, probably gonna call it a day. Here's to hoping. That didn't help. You guys teach me how to fire up, how to adjust a starter, because 2 shims, I don't know if you need to shim just one side or what, but I'm pretty sick of just crawling up under it out here in the heat. So maybe I'll come back one evening or early one morning or something. It's too hot.
Several days later.
So on today's episode of OK Speed Shop, I'm going to be back outside working on the Mossy blue truck. I've been having trouble with the starter, so I turned to you guys. I reached out on the YouTube community tab and asked you guys, how do I shim this starter? Because I've started with 0 shims, then I put 1 shim in, then 2 shims in, and it's still just grinding when I turn the key. So some of you guys said it's just going to take a new starter. Had a couple of y'all say try 3 and 4 shims, and some people said just try shimming it on one side. So I'm going to try to add a couple shims and mess around with that a little bit. If that doesn't work today, we're going to go and get a new gear reduction starter for, like somebody said, like a 96 S10. We're going to throw one of those on there and see if we can't get the Mossy blue truck mobile once again. So I've already got 2 shims in there. I'm going to put this 3rd shim in, and then I've got these 2 cut to where if I want to try to add shims on one side or the other. So let's just throw this 3rd one in there and let's see what happens. So shim number 3 is in. Steve over at Cross Thread Garage gave me a tip to put my phone under the flywheel where I could see the starter engage. So I'm going to cut to that screen now. I'm going to spin the key and see what happens. Well, that wasn't pretty. So after looking at the footage, it looks like it's shimmed way too much, that the starter wasn't getting up into the teeth of the flywheel enough. So I think 3 shims is probably way too much. I'm trying to figure out how to get the teeth of the starter into the teeth of the flywheel more. Thinking maybe if I just shimmed the side behind, like not closest to the teeth, furthest from the teeth, if I shimmed that side, it might kick it up more. I don't know. Or maybe I just need to replace the starter. I think I may call the parts house and see if they could hook me up with one. I've spun it a few times. It just don't seem like it's good. Like I don't know. It just kind of doesn't engage the flywheel right.
Okay.
Is that something that we can swap out, or how do we handle something like that?
I know it's got a warranty on it and it can be swapped, but let me find out for sure how we need to handle it, okay? Because I want to tell you the wrong thing.
Okay.
Give me just a second.
Well, the parts house said that they would make it right if the starter is faulty. I don't know if they're going to call it faulty or not, because it does engage, but it's not engaging the flywheel right. So they're probably just going to say it's a problem with my flywheel or something like that. But either way, I don't think I'm coming back home with that same starter. I think I'm going to come back with a starter off of a 96 S10, a gear reduction starter, and hopefully that'll get us spinning over good. So let's go to the parts house. So while I'm heading to the parts house, I wanted to take a minute on this drive just to invite you guys to be a part of my memberships. There's a lot of y'all that have asked how you can support the channel. A lot of you have bought merch. I had one guy that just surprised me the other day and just asked if there was some way that he could donate to the channel, and he donated $200 to the channel, and it was just such a blessing. So that just really opened my eyes about how awesome y'all are, and that some of you actually want to support me and be a part of what's going on in the channel. So I have created what I call the ShOp-DaWgs, and I got the idea from my dog Bandit, who you've seen running around, the Shop Lion. some people call him. But anyway, Bandit is right there beside me in the shop every day, and he sees all the progress firsthand. He gets to hear all of my crazy ideas that I talk to myself about in the shop. And I thought, you know what if there's a select few members of my audience that would be interested in being like Bandit, the ShOp-DaWg, and just like an insider group where I can talk to personally, and we can brainstorm ways to make the channel grow. We can brainstorm ideas of cool stuff to do and adventures to go on. You guys would have access to members only live streams. You would have early access to all the videos that come out. You guys would have a chance to see those and engage with those before just the general public does. There'd be all kinds of benefits to being a part of the ShOp-DaWgs, and I wanted to make this available to you. If you wanted to support me and be a part of the ShOp-DaWgs, all it is $1.99 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee a month, and I promise you, I mean, for you it wouldn't be that much, but if I had, 100 of y'all, 200 of y'all that join that could really make a difference in the shop and help me to acquire new products and the right tools to make these videos and create this content for you. So I wanted to ask you to consider that. I would love it if you would join the ShOp-DaWgs. I might even throw some ShOp-DaWg merch your way once we get a few members. So anyway, click join on the membership right down below the video. And without further ado, I'm almost to the parts house. Let's get this truck running. Peace. Well, here's the old one. Of course, they didn't think that it was anything wrong with it, so I kept it. But I also purchased this gear reduction starter that actually comes off of like a 98 Chevy, like an S10 V6 motor, and I just almost had to force the guy to sell it to me because it says it's for a V6, but all you guys said that this one would fit, and I'm gonna go for it. We looked, the bolt pattern's the same. This little thing, it looks a lot smaller right here, but this is actually the same here and here, but it's about half the size, which I'm excited about. So anyway, save that for another project. Put this little guy on old blue. Let's go. So when I was dropping the old starter, of course it fell to the ground, almost killing me. But what's even worse than that, as I took all that time wiring up all this accessory stuff here, and when it fell to the ground, of course, it destroyed all of that. So, got to replace this little guy. Hopefully, it goes right back in without much trouble. Alright, we'll tape that up. There's no way that could possibly ever go anywhere. Then we'll throw this little baby starter on. I'm not gonna lie, this is actually really nice to be able to actually hold the weight of the starter up without having a hernia and dying. Okay, so one thing that's a plus is now that I have this little starter, I can use this little gear reduction bolts that Steve told me to get. So that's cool. Stuff is falling all in my eyes. I'll have to do the safety squint. At least there's plenty of room down here. No problem at all. Oh, we're gonna try this with no shim first, and then we'll see if we need a shim. Man, I hope this works. I'm sick of crawling around under here in these rocks. Let me see if I can get out of here and we'll start her up. Fingers crossed, y'all. Whoops. Okay, something wasn't right with our ground situation, I don't think. What the crap was that? Let me look into that situation. So I don't know if just the ground cable wasn't tight enough or what, but I just tightened the ground cable. Let's give her one more crank, see what happens. Nope. So I looked at the other red truck and it looks like I'm missing a ground that goes from the core support down to the frame. I don't know if that's going to be the problem or not, but I'm going to go ahead and throw that wire in. And I don't really like this battery ground that I've got. It just seems to be a little bit loose here where the cable meets the little fitting here, but I don't have another one here right now that I feel like messing with. The ones that I do have look worse than this one, so I'm just gonna try it again with that new frame to core support ground, see if that makes any difference at all, and go from there. I just finished tightening the grounds up here on the alternator bracket, tighten down the negative here on the battery, and hook up the positive, see if that's any better at all. Well, as you heard, the ground issue is fixed again, but the starter is not. So, I guess it's time to throw in a shim again. So the shiny, pretty bolts, they kind of fit at first until I put a shim in that new starter. So I did dig around in some of my old starters and I found some other bolts that had the knurling, but that were about a ½ inch longer. I think we should be good to go. Hook the battery back up now. Give her one more try. Let's do it. What the crap? What the crap is going on? So I crawled back under there and I cut another shim in half just to shim the flywheel side. And when I stuck it in, I realized that that shim that was already there was not even loose, or not even tight. So I ended up taking 2 washers and put under that side starter bolt and sucked those down a little bit better. So maybe that'll change something. We just engaged the flywheel. We just engaged the flywheel. Too bad our battery's dead. Crap. Let me get something on here to jump this off. So I swapped the battery out. I have no idea if that battery's any good, so we'll see. But if the battery's good, and that wasn't just a fluke, the truck should try to start right now. So, Sherman Park, turn the key, say a prayer. That battery's deader than the other one. Crap. Alright, so I rigged me up a little charger here, run an extension cord out from the shop. We'll let this charge for just a second. Turn the key. Hopefully, we'll hear a little noise finally, other than these birds chirping out here. Alright, moment of truth number 3776. Okay, that feels close, but obviously still not right. I feel like, I don't know what I feel like. It's starting to spin it and then it's kicking out. So maybe it didn't need the 2 shims, it just needed the 1 shim, but with the 2 washers underneath pushing the bolt up tighter. I think I'll crawl under there, pull 1 shim out, tighten it back down, try it again. So when I got back under there, I realized the little geary thing coming into the starter was actually not disengaged from the flywheel. So that made me think I maybe needed to add an extra shim instead of taking one away. So that's what I did. I had to modify the shims a little bit, but I think I've got 3 on one side and 2 on the other bolt. So we'll see if that makes any difference. Well, that seemed to be pretty solid to me. So I'm gonna put a little gas in the carb and see if I can get some spark. Maybe this thing will start today. Okay, I'll take that. She did pop off. She didn't keep running. Could be because she's headed downhill. She might be low on fuel. I do feel confident at how the starter engaged when I kicked it on and off. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the truck down because I think, hopefully, I am done underneath there. I think all I got to do now is figure out how to get spark and get fuel up to this carburetor. So let's lower her down and give her another try. So I got quite a bit of fuel in the carb now. There's no choke hooked up on this thing, so sometimes she's a little finicky. But I'm gonna give her another try, see if we can get her to pop off in the idle. Woo! We're back! And we're not back. Well, I call it progress. We did get her to run for a little bit. Definitely sounds like she's not hitting on all cylinders. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's a timing thing. Not backfiring or anything, just sounds really weak. I know I definitely need to still adjust the roller rockers. So that's what I'm really trying to do, is to get this thing into the shop where I can drive up there and take the valve covers off and try to get this thing running right. Because this is supposed to be a beast of an engine with a big cam in it. But right now she just sounds like a 4-cylinder. So, I'm gonna pull the battery charger off of this thing and see if I can't clear some stuff out of the way and get her to drive. I got to air a tire up too. We got a low tire over here, and maybe we can get her up to the shop. That ought to be good enough to get me to the shop. Alright, I got a super sketchy camera tripod right now. I'm basically propping you guys up with this voltmeter and the blinker to replace this old blinky here. Always want to turn left. I'm going to see if I can limp this thing up to the shop. We're mobile. Oh, I lost you. We're driving it, kinda. Ooh, I gotta get power steering hooked up on this thing. Oh, I can't wait to be able to drive this thing all the time now. Let's see if we got reverse. Oh yeah. I gotta get power steering. Woo, it's hot in here. Let's just bring you guys outside and let you show you the truck. Whoa! Guess I better put her in park. A little smoke. See what that's about right now. Well, she ran and idled pretty good. Things I need to do now is I've got to figure out a bracket for this power steering, because we have the world's smallest steering wheel and no power steering, so it's hard to turn. So I got to figure out that bracket. I need to put a helicoil in because I still have the exhaust leak on the number 2 cylinder, or next to the number 2 cylinder. I stripped the thread to the headers, so I got to get a helicoil in that. I guess I need to go ahead and get a permanent battery for this thing. I ended up giving my other battery away with the Thunderbird that I sold. And then lastly, I think I'm going to get this thing into the shop, pull the valve covers off, and figure out how to adjust the roller rockers. It's a solid lifter cam, so it's a kind of a complicated adjustment. But I think once I do that, This thing should be running pretty good. I'm gonna mess with the timing a little bit. Might even hit it with the timing light. I don't know. Try to learn how to do stuff right, maybe. So anyway, that's what we'll do next, later. And we're back, and it's the next day, and today is actually my birthday. So support this channel by writing in the comments how old you think I am. And if you get it right, I'll give you a shout out or a discount on some merch or something like that. So yeah, anyway, give me some birthday love in the comments. Today, what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna get this truck. I can never point right when I'm pointing backwards into the camera. I'm gonna get this truck out of the shop, and I'm gonna get this truck into the shop. I just had to put the hood on this 57 so that, I know it's got a 55 grill, but it's 57. I'm gonna take her out, get her outside. I had to put the hood on because she's gonna be living outside for a while, and I'm gonna get the blue truck in the shop so that I can start adjusting valves, getting the brakes, and man, get that thing on the road. So anyway, let me see if I can get a battery in this thing, get her started up, get her out, get old Blue back in. I had to hit her with a little bit of the cocktail. I don't know why. This is a 350 TBI motor, but she's still pretty cold-blooded. It's like she's been sitting for a while. You go to turn the key and she just spins like she's not getting fuel up. So gotta hit her with a little bit of the juice. I'm gonna go turn the key. You probably hear the air ride. The air tank's filling up right now. I gotta give them a little bit of time. I got a little bit of a bleed off, so it takes a while for that tank to fill up. Hopefully I can trace that down so I don't have to do this every time. Well, anyway, let me see if she'll start. I love this truck. I can't wait to get this one done. A lot of you guys haven't seen this one. She's a 1957 Chevy pickup on an 88 frame. Working on putting air ride in it. It's in there, but nothing's done right yet. Got a lot of work to do still yet. Anyway, let me see. Brighten you up here. She's gonna be cool. Well, time to go get old Blue back in her spot. Who wants to take bets on whether or not old Blue's gonna start first time? I think likely not. Guys, that was close. That was so close. Well, we got her in the barn. Next thing I got to do is get the power steering figured out, get front brakes figured out, and get these valves adjusted. So I'm gonna put the old brown truck back in her place and start figuring all this stuff out now. All right, homies, that's it for this episode. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Please join my memberships. Be a part of the ShOp-DaWgs, so you guys can be first to know about everything that we do here at OK Speed Shop. Stay tuned for the next episode. We got all kinds of wild content coming up with old Blue, with the red truck, with all kinds of crazy other projects that you guys don't even know about yet. Thank you for being a part of the channel. I love you guys. Have a great day. Oh yeah, one more thing before I go. If you guys like my content, check out this other dude. His name is the Empire of Rust. He's got some really cool rescue content, rescuing some old pickup trucks, all kinds of crazy stuff, just like we do over here. So give him a subscribe. Tell him OK Speed Shop sent you. Peace out, dudes.